They can speak for themselves, but they know who they are.
And you're mouthing off and you couldn't answer me.
Getting eliminated from Hell's Kitchen is one thing. Walking out on your own is something else entirely. Every season, chefs arrive saying they'd do anything for this opportunity. They've spent money to be there. They've left jobs, families, and entire careers behind for a shot at working under Gordon Ramsay. And then the pressure arrives, and some of them discover that anything has a limit. Some walked out mid-service with tickets still hanging on the rail. Some were carried out by an injury they couldn't cook through. One of them stood in front of the whole brigade, told Ramsay exactly what he thought of him, and left through the front door. A few of them left with an apology, most of them didn't. These are the 10 most shocking quits in Hell's Kitchen history. Number 10, the chef who blamed everyone but himself. Some exits build over weeks. This one came apart in about a minute. The service was already going badly. The pass was backing up, and instead of fixing his own station, the chef standing in the middle of it decided the problem was everybody else. He blamed his partner. He blamed the man next to him for work he hadn't done himself. What makes it stand out isn't the argument. Kitchens argue it's that he genuinely could not hear how it sounded. Every chef around him had the same tickets, the same heat, and the same clock, and every one of them was still cooking. Ramsay's response was the one he saves for exactly this. He stopped the argument, put the question straight back to him, and made him answer for his own section in front of the entire brigade. There's a pattern to these exits that shows up again and again on this program. A chef who blames everybody else is never actually arguing about the food. He's arguing because admitting the station was his would mean admitting the night was his too, and that's the one sentence he can't get out. He didn't have an answer, and once a chef reaches that point, there are usually only two ways out of the kitchen. He picked the fast one. Number 9. I'm walking out these doors. This is the exit that plays out entirely in the corridor. After being asked to leave the kitchen during a service, a chef who was supposed to cool off and come back simply didn't. His teammates followed him out and tried to talk him around. They told him what everyone watching was thinking. There are thousands of cooks who would take his place tomorrow, and he was about to hand it away over a bad night. His answer became the whole scene. Let them take it. He said the man had asked him to leave and he wasn't going to stand there and be shouted at again. And then he told them plainly that he was walking out those doors. And he did. The teammates arguing with him are the detail that makes the scene. These are people competing directly against him, who would objectively be better off if he left, and they're the ones standing in a corridor trying to talk him into going back. Nobody in that group is thinking about the competition. They're just watching somebody make a decision they know they'll regret. And being asked to step out of a service isn't the end of anything. Ramsay does it constantly, to give a chef 3 minutes to breathe and come back straight. The whole thing is designed to be temporary. It only becomes permanent if you decide it is. What makes it so hard to watch is how ordinary it is. There's no fight, no dramatic music, no confrontation at the pass. Just a chef who decided somewhere in that corridor that his pride mattered more than the opportunity, walking away while people who cared about him tried to stop him. Instantly, number 8, the injury nobody could argue with. Not every departure is a choice, and the hardest ones to watch are the ones where the chef desperately wants to stay. Midway through the competition, one of the strongest cooks in the kitchen went down with an injury to their foot. The immediate reaction told you everything about how serious it was. No arguing, no negotiating with Ramsay, just an urgent need to get off it, get it elevated, and get ice on it. Back in the dorms, the reaction was the opposite of what usually happens in this show. Their team didn't see an opportunity. They gathered around, told them they weren't a burden, insisted they were a strong member of the team, and tried to convince them to stay. But the verdict on their exit is the line that lands. Leaving because of a lack of skill would have been one thing. Leaving because of an injury, while still being good enough to win, is something you don't get to fix. And a foot injury is uniquely disqualifying in this particular job. A chef stands for the entire service on a hard floor, moving constantly between a bench and a burner in a space barely wide enough for one person. There is no version of a kitchen station you can work sitting down. You either take the weight or you leave the line. They walked out believing they could have gone all the way, and nobody in that kitchen disagreed. Number 7, the burn that ended it. Hell's Kitchen runs on open flame, hot pans, and people moving fast in a confined space. Sooner or later, that catches somebody. One of the women's team took a burn serious enough that she couldn't keep working the line. She came in to speak to Ramsay, sat down, and told him she was going to go. There was no shouting. This is one of the rare moments where the show's entire tone changes. Ramsay doesn't argue, doesn't push, and doesn't make her justify it. The kitchen says goodbye. Her teammates line up and wish her luck. Her own summary of it is the best line in the whole segment, and it's the reason this exit sticks with people. She said she didn't consider herself a failure. She called Hell's Kitchen an immersion in fire, and said it was simply too much for her. It's also one of the few exits on this show that nobody argued with afterwards. There's no confessional from a teammate calling it weak, no comment from Ramsay about somebody who couldn't handle it, and no suggestion that she'd taken the easy way out. In a format built almost entirely on people criticizing each other's decisions, that silence says a lot. That's not somebody giving up. That's somebody being honest about a kitchen that had physically stopped being survivable. Number 6, the parting shot. Some chefs leave quietly. This one left with a speech he'd clearly been writing in his head for weeks. By the time he went, he had already decided the competition wasn't worth what it was costing him. He had a business waiting for him at home. He'd built something real before he ever walked into that kitchen, and standing there being shouted at had stopped making sense. But what makes this one memorable isn't the reasoning, it's the regret. He didn't walk out wishing he tried harder or cooked better. He walked out wishing he had said more. And then he said it anyway, straight to camera, in language the show could barely broadcast, describing in detail exactly what he wished he'd told Ramsay to do with that chef's jacket. And he isn't wrong about the maths, which is what makes it stick. Most Hell's Kitchen contestants are cooks, hoping this show will hand them a career. A few of them already have one. When somebody who already runs their own kitchen decides that being screamed at on television isn't a promotion, the whole premise of the competition wobbles for a second. It's petty, it's furious, and it is completely human. Every viewer who has ever left a job badly recognizes that feeling instantly. Number 5, the chef who ran out of answers. There's a specific kind of Hell's Kitchen exit that happens when a chef simply stops being able to explain themselves. Called forward to justify his place in the competition, this chef had nothing left. Ramsay asked where his head was. He asked what had happened to the cook who'd walked in weeks earlier. He asked him directly why he thought he should stay. The silence in those moments is worse than any shouting. The rest of the brigade stands behind him, watching a man search for a reason and not find one. Hell's Kitchen is built on chefs who believe in themselves far past the point of evidence. That's what makes it entertaining. So when somebody stands at the front and genuinely can't argue their own case, the whole format goes quiet with him. He left without a fight, which in this kitchen is its own kind of shock. Number 4, the chef who volunteered. After one of the ugliest team meetings in the show's history, something happened that almost never happens. The nomination argument had gone on for what felt like forever. Chefs were shouting over each other, trading accusations, defending their own service, and blaming everybody else for the night's failure. Nobody was backing down, and nobody was taking responsibility. And then one chef ended it by putting herself up. She didn't wait to be nominated. She didn't argue her case. She simply stepped forward and said she'd go, and the entire argument collapsed in on itself, because there was suddenly nothing left to fight about. Ramsay's send-off was almost gentle by his standards. A short exchange, and good night. In a competition built on people fighting to stay, choosing to go is the most disruptive thing you can possibly do. Number 3, when it stopped being about cooking. This is the exit the show handles more carefully than any other. Partway through the competition, one of the chefs stopped being okay. Not tired, not frustrated, not beaten by a bad service, something else. His teammates noticed it first, the way people in a shared dorm always do, and eventually somebody went to production about it. What follows is the most un-Hell's Kitchen scene in the entire run. Ramsay was informed about the chef's state of mind, and he handled it the way any decent head chef would. No shouting, no pass, no cameras crowding him, just a conversation. The competition stopped mattering, and everybody involved acted like it stopped mattering. For a show with a reputation built on cruelty, it's a genuinely important few minutes, and it's the clearest evidence that the Fury has an off switch. Number 2. Walking out mid-service. Most chefs who quit at least wait for the service to end. She didn't. The argument started at the pass and escalated fast. Ramsay pushed for an answer she didn't want to give. The exchange got louder, and then she said the words nobody says while tickets are still live. She was done. And she walked out of the kitchen, past the pass, past her own station, in the middle of dinner service, with a full dining room waiting and her team a body down. Ramsay called her back. She kept going. What makes it the most shocking walkout in the show's history is the timing. Quitting between rounds is a decision. Quitting mid-service with food on the pass and people waiting to eat is the one thing a professional kitchen genuinely cannot forgive. And a walkout costs far more than one pair of hands. Stations are built around each other, so the moment one goes empty, the timing on every other section stops working. Dishes that were supposed to land together stop landing together. The people left behind don't just cover the gap, they absorb the chaos it creates for the rest of the night. Her team had to finish the night without her, and everybody in that room knew exactly what had happened. Number 1. The chef who told Gordon Ramsay what he really thought. This is the one every fan brings up. 2 hours into a dinner service that was already falling apart, Ramsay pushed a chef who had run out of patience. He asked him to repeat what he'd just muttered. Then he asked him to say it louder. Then he asked him again in front of the entire kitchen until there was nowhere left to hide. So the chef said it, out loud, on the record, directly to Gordon Ramsay's face, in a way the network had to censor. He didn't like him, and he told him exactly what he thought of him using the shortest word available. The kitchen stopped. Even Ramsay, who has been called almost everything, took a second. And then it was over. 2 hours into service, the chef was gone. Has everything a legendary Hell's Kitchen moment needs. A chef at breaking point, a host who wouldn't let it go, and a line that can never be taken back. 2 decades of television, and nobody has topped it. And the strangest part is that he was probably right about how he felt. He just said it in the one place on earth where saying it ends your career in about 4 seconds. To the one man who was never going to let it go unanswered. If you enjoyed the video, drop a comment telling us which Hell's Kitchen quit shocked you the most. And don't forget to subscribe for more kitchen disasters, legendary meltdowns, and Gordon Ramsay chaos.